Imagine this. You have an idea for a community, a really specific one. And instead of spending months and a ton of money building it, you could have it up and running in less time than it takes to make a cup of coffee. Today, we're looking at a technology that makes that possible.
So, let's just start with this wild question. What if you could build a totally custom social network from just a single sentence? Seriously, forget all the complex coding, forget the design teams, forget the massive budgets. What if all you needed was one simple instruction, written in plain English, to launch your very own powerful, private online world? It sounds like science fiction, right? Well, it's not.
30 seconds. Yep, you heard that right. 30 seconds. That's the magic number here. From the moment you type out your idea to the moment your community is live and ready to go. It's an incredible speed, and it's all thanks to the LinkSpreed Web4 platform.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with how you can actually create a network in 30 seconds, what that process looks like. Then we'll dive into two really cool case studies, a public challenge called EcoPledge and a super secure workshop for engineers called RoboNet. But our main event, the real deep dive, is going to be on an amazing scientific network called VentFinder. And then we'll wrap up by talking about why this whole thing is such a game changer for the future of online communities.
All right, let's pull back the curtain and see how this engine actually runs. You might be surprised by how beautifully simple the whole process is. It really just boils down to these 3 steps. First, you go to the platform. Second, you just talk to it. You write out what you want in plain English. No code, no jargon. And third, you hit launch, and it creates what's called a community VM. Now, think of that like your own private, self-contained digital universe for your group. A virtual social network that you and only you control. That's it.
And check this out. This isn't some abstract concept. This is a real-world prompt. You literally just describe what you're picturing in your head. For this sustainability challenge, EcoPledge, the prompt was basically, hey, build me a fun temporary social network for a 100-day challenge and make sure it looks great on a phone. The system just takes that and builds it. So let's see how this actually performs out in the wild. Our first case study is EcoPledge, and it's a perfect example of a public, open community built for maximum engagement.
So EcoPledge was built for a 100-day sustainable living challenge. The whole point was to actually get people to change their habits. And to do that, it needed some very specific tools, like daily photo check-ins, a map so people could trade things locally, like compost, and live Q&As with experts. The whole vibe was designed to be mobile, fun, and kind of like a game to keep everyone hooked.
Now, this is where you see the real power after that initial 30-second launch. The level of control is amazing. For their rules, they set a strict eco-positive policy, 0 shaming allowed. For money, it was free to join, but you could pay for extra game features. And get this, the AI was used to analyze people's photos and gently suggest sustainable swaps, like pointing out a bamboo toothbrush if it saw a plastic one. Pretty clever, right?
Okay, so that's a public-facing, feel-good community. But what about something on the complete opposite end of the spectrum? Something highly technical, highly secure. Let's switch gears and look at RoboNet.
RoboNet is a completely different beast. This is a secure, private workshop for engineers building humanoid robots. We're talking about sharing sensitive CAD models with version control and using encrypted chats to troubleshoot complex hardware problems in real time. The goal here isn't public fun. It's secure, fast, and deeply technical R&D collaboration.
And because of that, the controls have to be airtight. Data ownership is 100% sovereign. The engineers own their intellectual property, period. The rules are incredibly strict. For example, every firmware update has to go through a mandatory peer review before anyone else can even see it. And its monetization is tiered, just like a professional organization, with different access levels for students, grads, and big corporations.
So we've seen a public network and a professional one. But to really, truly appreciate the power we're talking about, we need to go deep. And I mean that literally, to the bottom of the ocean. Let's focus on our main event, the VentFinder network.
VentFinder is an elite, hyper-private network built for a very small, very demanding group of people, the world's leading scientists studying deep-sea hydrothermal vents. This isn't about sharing project updates or cool pictures. This is about sharing raw, priceless, groundbreaking scientific data.
And the scale of the data here, it's just mind-boggling. We are talking about petabytes of raw information. That's high-resolution sensor readings, temperature, pressure, chemical compositions, beamed up directly from instruments thousands of feet below the surface of the ocean. This isn't just big data. This is a whole other league. And this chart,
Wow, it just puts everything into perspective. If you think of EcoPledge's data as a 10 on the scale and RoboNet as a 40, VentFinder is just off the charts at 100. The fact that the infrastructure to handle this can be spun up from a single prompt is absolutely incredible. This is the ultimate stress test.
So how on earth do you manage a community with data this valuable? The controls have to be ironclad. First, data ownership is non-negotiable. All the data belongs solely to the research institution that collected it. Full stop. Access is invite only, of course, and there's an automated data integrity check that vets every single upload before it's shared. And the funding is different too. It's covered by a single annual fee from universities, so the scientists themselves don't have to worry about it. And the features built for them are absolutely mission critical. We're talking a geospatial viewer that puts sensor data right onto ocean charts, a real-time scheduling board to coordinate ridiculously expensive deep-sea submersibles between different teams around the world. The AI here isn't suggesting toothbrushes, it's flagging sudden temperature spikes that could mean a new scientific discovery or a critical equipment failure. This is serious stuff.
So let's just pause and look at this. This slide is the key to everything. It's one single platform, but it's powering 3 completely different universes, each with its own fundamental rule. EcoPledge runs on a policy of positivity. RoboNet runs on mandatory peer review. And VentFinder runs on automated data integrity. This just perfectly illustrates the insane flexibility to build the exact culture your community needs.
Okay, we've seen some incredible examples, from eco-warriors to robotics engineers to deep-sea scientists. So what does it all mean? Why is a 30-second network so important?
It all comes down to one absolutely critical idea: data sovereignty. All that means is that you own and control your own information. For the engineers in RoboNet, and especially for the scientists in VentFinder, this isn't just a nice little feature, it is the fundamental requirement. They simply cannot risk their priceless data and intellectual property on some generic, one-size-fits-all platform.
And that, right there, is the biggest takeaway of all. This technology represents the democratization of creating sovereign digital spaces. It gives any group, no matter how big or small, how public or private, the power to build and, most importantly, to own their digital home.
It's a pretty revolutionary idea when you think about it. So I'll leave you with this one final question to ponder. If you could create a perfectly tailored, completely sovereign community for any purpose you could imagine, in just 30 seconds, what community would you build?